Welcome to episode 5 of the Blokebusters Film for Thought. Our Experiment in Randomness.
Yes. Our little bite-sized filmic discussions.
Yeah. Or at least we try and keep it bite-sized.
Yeah, you know, for us.
Yeah, we've done alright so
far. For
us,
long-winded blokes, yeah. Uh-huh.
Right, well, this time, as you can probably tell, we are talking about top first film. Now, the way that we're clarifying this is the first theatrical release from a director. So we've gone and looked at
no TV movies. Yeah,
a whole bunch of directors that we enjoy. We've looked at their first theatrically released film, and then maybe not necessarily ranked them, but picked our top 3 favorites.
And I don't think we'll have any issues. I don't think I clarified this with you, but a solo director, not like co-directing or directed a piece of a part of the film.
Yeah. So for me, the Wachowskis are not in it because they are 2 people together. All right. So
who would like to lead off?
I don't know. We could flip a coin, but I don't have one.
I guess I will start things rolling with a little film that I'm pretty sure that you enjoy as well. And I guess if I'm ranking this would be my 3rd favorite. Okay. It is a film called Serenity.
Serenity,
by
yes.
Mr. Joss Whedon.
Yes, that is a very good film.
And that was his first theatrical film. He had done a lot of TV, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog.
Well, that was not even TV.
Well, I wasn't mentioning that as an example. I was going on from the TV.
Continuing.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, we know all the TV, Buffy, and
yes,
Firefly, and yes.
Well, especially Firefly.
Well, I know I say it quietly because I still have that anger that was built up. But I just think it was such a wonderful, just beautiful love letter to the fans of that show.
Yeah,
and
very much so.
And without, if you haven't seen the film, you've only had, 10 years to see it.
But
except for one tragic ending that still bugs me. So a certain character that likes to play with dinosaurs. And what happens to him.
Curse Joss Whedon's sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yes. So that, only issue with that film, but I just thought, the way River tied into that movie, River's just cemented her as one of the most badass Laugh-Like characters of all time. But yeah, I love that movie. It's something I can pop on, and I just watched it probably 2 weeks ago.
All right.
I went through my Firefly
rewatching
binge. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that does not take long, does it?
It is still. I know you told me that, but it does. It is a lot of content. It's
it is.
You consider each episode's about 45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that.
So you have
that there's not a lot of content.
It's tough to cram into a 2-day weekend. Yeah.
I'm just saying that. Shall we compare it to most other television shows?
Like trying to watch the Office American version is slightly impossible
just
in a weekend because there are 9 seasons. But all good. All right. So Serenity is my number 3.
All right. Oh. Well, my number 3 is from a little known director called Edgar Wright. So I have gone with Shaun of the Dead.
I took that off of my list because I figured that would go to you.
Yes. And also what I did when I was writing my list was I actually wrote down my least favorite film from those directors. And
yes.
And that doesn't mean that I hate those films. It just means that out of all of the films, least favorite. Mm-hmm. And my least favorite
kind of cake.
Yes.
I still like it.
My least favorite film by Edgar Wright is Shaun of the Dead. So that just happens to work out like that.
I don't know how, but I think I'm going to go cross-eyed with that answer. It's your least most favorite.
It just means that out of all of his films, it is my least favorite. However, I still really like Shaun of the Dead, and given the criteria that we gave ourselves of first theatrical releases, it is my 3rd favorite of that. So it was one of those things that was actually the first time I saw Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, first time I'd heard of Edgar Wright, and it was phenomenal. A great send-up and homage to all of those films.
It's a perfect example of how to do satire and not do it over the top, but still have a compelling movie that is just supremely funny and, like you said, just a great send-up of Romero and, just... Yeah. And like you, that was my first introduction, and then I backtracked with Space.
Yep, Space, and then followed their careers from then on. Yeah, it is a great introduction to those people and their style. So, yes, you've got Red on You will always forever be in my lexicon. Yes, even if there is no Red on You, Ryan will find some.
Okay. I guess before I go on to my number 2, I would like to say my least favorite Whedon movie, although there's only about 4 to pick from now, is Much Ado About Nothing. His Shakespeare.
I have yet to see that one.
It's even good. Like I said, it's good. Yeah. It's good.
It's got a bunch of people in it that I like. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's very good, but it's my least favorite. All right. Moving on. This I don't think will come to as any surprise to you once you hear the answer. A little film called District 9 by Neil Blomkamp.
That's not a shock, really.
No, it is such a compelling movie to watch. I think just for the allegory of this alien race, the allegory for apartheid and how horrible we can be as people to treating people different from us as less than human, and it's just wonderfully acted. It looks amazing, and that's about it. Hopefully, I still haven't given up on him. I think he can make the movies he wants to make again.
So what's your least favorite?
Oh, another shocker. That would have to be Chappie.
Chappie.
Yes. Need more input in Chappie.
Input.
Yeah. Sorry, little Johnny Five cross reference there, but yeah, Chappie. It's Elysium wasn't great, but they outdid themselves with Chappie about it. And hopefully that's his worst movie for a long time.
Well, yeah, let's hope he doesn't fall down M. Night Shyamalan spiral. Firework, just bang, and then nothing but drizzle. Just the embers slowly burn out. And he doesn't seem to be slowly burning out yet, does he? He's got another film coming out this year.
M. Night?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he was off to such a great start. Yeah, Unbreakable. Good Lord. Okay.
Alright, my number 2 is from, again, a little known director, Quentin Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs.
You slimy bastard.
I wonder what could be.
This episode is going to be very short.
So, yeah, I mean, this was one of those films that when I watched it, I'd never really seen a relatively low budget big film, as it were. like all of these people that are in it, and it's done so simplistically, and you barely get any of what actually happened before you see the guys, and you just see the aftermath. And Quentin Tarantino's writing is just so good. They've got so many great people in it. It also had him in it as one of the characters, one of his staples there.
Yes. I guess I'm going to join in on this because if you can't tell by now, that is my number 1.
Yeah.
So we'll get to Paul's in a bit, but yeah, I just remember it like turning the cops and robbers genre on its head, just defining it, reinventing it, and just told in a way that I didn't realize movies could go.
Yeah.
It was just a brand new experience. It was just like looking at a piece of art for the first time and then getting it. I'm like, okay, I understand why this is so special. And that's like how I connected with that movie.
It's just so solid, and And a great example of, like, this guy must have been working on the script for so long. Like, he wanted this to be a perfect first outing, and you get some people that it's clear it's their first film, but I wouldn't necessarily say you would watch this and go, oh, this is this guy's first ever piece of directing.
But it's such a great ensemble cast. I think everyone's great in it. I think Manson, of course, steals the show.
Well, yeah.
With his iconic, singing.
Little dancing.
Stuck in the middle. Between your ears. Just Tarantino just cemented himself as a just icon of pop culture, and with that, and this, I think you might remember me saying before we started recording that I thought there would be a slight technicality because this technically was not his first theatrical release, but he did have a film that is now mostly lost.
Yeah,
and that was called My Best Friend's Birthday.
Well, wasn't that mostly like film festivals and stuff like that? It wasn't really a huge, wide.
Yes, I mean it was 70 minutes long. There's only like a half hour that's still surviving. Yeah, and it was pretty much reimagined as the script for True Romance.
Right.
So that's how I really don't. I mean, yeah, if you want to I thought you might want to nitpick or someone else, but yeah.
No, I consider this his first theatrically released film.
Yes.
So I
am
fine with it.
Yes, it's just one of those. It's not one I've seen in a while, but I still feel like it's so fresh in my mind.
No, I think that's the thing. It was so well done and contained so much stuff that hadn't really been done before that it is so fresh, even though I haven't seen it in about 6 years.
Just like opening frame, it grabbed you, and just like Tim Roth, and just blood, and just the blood everywhere, and just him just dying the whole movie, just laying in the corner.
I mean, you've got there's that famous scene, you can find it on YouTube. It's like a foreign film where there's a guy, it takes him about 1 minute and 10 seconds to die from a gunshot. And he's just crawling around the room, just and you think, wow, that's an elongated death. No, this is 90 minutes of elongated death. But done really well.
And that the diner scene or whatever, where Buscemi goes off about tipping. And I had the pleasure to meet Mr. Steve Buscemi, and of all things, the copy I had of Reservoir Dogs was they had a I don't know if it was, I think, the 10th anniversary or something like that.
The Steelbook thing?
But they released all the characters, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink, all different covers, and I had Michael Madsen's, of course, and so I worked at the theater at the time, movie theater. Buscemi was coming to premiere Lonesome Jim, which he directed. His wife was from the area, so he chose our theater. And, I got to meet him, and I'm like, I got to bring my copy of Reservoir Dogs. And, he's like, Mr. Bond, what the fuck is this? So, I said, just sign on Madsen's face. And so, I have a one-of-a-kind Mr. Madsen cover with Mr. Pink's signature. So, yes, that will never, you will not see that item appear on eBay. So. No. Yeah, I'm quite proud of that one.
You need to show me that next time, huh?
Yeah. Yep, right over Michael Madsen's face is this Steve Buscemi. Yep.
All right. Well,
I guess we can go on to your number one then, since you took the wind out of my sails.
Well, when I was writing this list, I had so many that I was going through, and I figured I'm just going to throw out I've got 3 honorable mentions that so nearly made it to the number 3 spot on the list. There's Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, which was just a fun ride. Slither, James Gunn. I thought that was fun, but again, Shaun of the Dead really did that. Yeah. And American Beauty by Sam Mendes. That was his first ever film. Yeah. And he managed to make a really solid film, but I mean, maybe if I'd grown up in America... I really
have problems with it now. I don't think it holds up at all. But
maybe if I'd grown up in America, that one would have picked it over Shaun of the Dead, just because it is kind of Americana-esque feel to it. But yeah, I mean, those were three that, especially American Beauty, I was like, wow, that was a first-time director. And, of course, we had to exclude Shawshank Redemption from this list because, again, that was a first-time director.
Yes, it's a bit like saying the sky is blue.
What's your favourite colour of the sky? Well, it's only blue, so...
Yes, well, the greatest movie of all time, but okay.
Which is actually kind of sad. Like, would you want to be a director where your first ever film is now the greatest film of all time? Yeah. It's like, well, I may as well give up now.
Yes, I've mastered filmmaking after one outing, so I guess I'll try painting. See how that goes. Real quickly before you get to your number one, least favorite Tarantino film of mine would be Jackie Brown. I don't think I'm really alone there. I don't think that. And then quickly followed by Kill Bill Volume 2.
Well, my least favorite is Death Proof. And that is out of all of the ones I have seen. I have not seen Jackie Brown, and I have not seen either of the Kill Bills. Oh, I've not seen all of either of the Kill Bills. So I couldn't use those as...
I kind of enjoyed Death Proof for what they were going for, the grindhouse genre. Yeah. But... Well, to each their own. Let's not keep us in suspense anymore. You're number one.
Oh, really? You sure we can't just keep...
All right. Now, 3 minutes of silence.
Oh, I hope you like it. Alright, so my number one is Clerks from Kevin Smith.
How did I miss that? Damn you.
Yeah, and that one, like, it's by no means a masterclass in filmmaking, but that film is just everything you want to know about Kevin Smith. Yeah. Just watch that film.
And it's just a testament to... You want to see a movie like that? Well, he had to make the movie he wanted to see. Going into some of the behind the scenes very quickly, he maxed out 5 newly bought credit cards to pay for it. He's gone on record as saying that if Clerks hadn't sold, he would still be working at that store trying to pay off the credit cards. All that debt,
And he went out on a limb and he got this made. He... through sheer willpower of an executive that worked for Harvey Weinstein, got it to Harvey Weinstein, and it's just solid writing, some of the most natural writing you're ever going to find.
Yeah, I remember the scene, like, this is how I talk with my friends. Like, these are the things, like, I wouldn't want my parents over here. I necessarily wouldn't say some of these things in front of the fair sex, but... These are the discussions I have with my friends, with my guy friends. Yeah. And it just... none of the dialogue felt like it was a movie dialogue. Yeah. It just felt like you were filming just two guys hashing stuff out.
It was just their day at work. Yeah. And their unsupervised day of work. Yes. Because, I'm sure had the owner been there at some point.
And quite possibly, I'm going to change that to definitely... A line I use more than you've got read on you is, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Anytime I'm called into work.
Every time someone comes in the door, I'm not supposed to be here today.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. I love that that's just an out for having to get any service whatsoever.
Yeah, it's such a great first outing, and not even my favorite film by him, but definitely I put it on the top of the list. It's my favorite first
him
film.
As a unique filmmaker. Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, why is it in black and white?" It's like he couldn't afford to make it in color. And it really does help. It's a dreary day at work for Dante. So. Yes. And I will say that had they gone with the original ending, it wouldn't be my number one.
Oh yes, they filmed even.
They filmed it, and the unpolished version is available on the DVDs.
Oh yes, I have that.
Yeah, and
there would certainly not be a Clerks 2 and now Clerks 3.
Yeah, I'm not against that being an ending, but for the film and how it was, I think it's not the best ending.
Yeah, it's just a bit too heavy. Yes. I mean, there was already one funeral in the movie. So.
And there's actually a fantastic little thing that they made I think it was like 10 years after they did Clerks, they filmed Dante and Randall in a car. I think it's while they're on their way to the funeral, and it's Randall trying to get Dante to say, what would you do for the flying car?
It's times like this it occurs to me we were lied to by the Jetsons.
What are you talking about?
According to that show, we were supposed to be tooling around in flying cars by now. You see any flying cars lately? That's the problem with TV. It always lies to us.
Yeah, well, most of us rational thinkers weren't banking on a cartoon to offer us a viable glimpse into the future of technological development.
You don't think anyone anywhere is working on the flying car?
I could care less.
I gotta believe there's somebody else out there thinking about the flying car besides me.
Like, what? Like, would you? Like, what if the guy was saying, "Okay, I'll give you the flying car, but you gotta let me go down on you and film it," and all that, and then it ends with a classic Randall twist as well. So
I don't think I've seen that.
It just keeps giving you little extra things here and there. And
I also love how it's actually the day after the events of Mallrats.
Yeah,
like one day after, because Jason Lee even references the girl that.
Well, that's the thing. The beginning of the film when the main character's girlfriend dumps him, they're talking about the fact that the girl that the funeral they go to in Clerks has just died.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was the beginning of the Viewersk universe, right?
Yes,
which has always been fun.
Yes,
so.
Thank you, Silent Bob.
Round it off.
Did you say least? Yes.
I did. My least favorite, Cop Out.
Cop Out?
Yeah.
I don't even think I saw it. Yeah.
I mean...
Two Dicks, as it was working title.
Yeah, he didn't write it, and that might have something to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, have you not seen Jersey Girl?
I have not.
Okay, so that would be your least favorite as you've seen Jersey Girl.
That's it. I specifically have not seen Jersey Girl because I've heard that I shouldn't see Jersey Girl.
Yeah.
So
it's like we went all against all of our instincts to not watch or to watch Mordecai. Yes. You actually listened to your instincts and did not watch Jersey Girl. I was not so fortunate.
Yeah.
So yes, be lucky that Cop Out is your least favorite.
Yeah. And before we finish here as well, I completely forgot to mention it at the end of our last full episode. I do have a Netflix recommendation, and it is a British mini-series, I'll say, because it's got 2 seasons, and each season is 4 episodes long, and each episode is just under 22 minutes. It is called A Young Doctor's Notebook and Other Stories. It is about a doctor in Russia. I'm fairly certain he's supposed to be Russian, but it's a guy, like the present is 1935, I believe, could be 1937, and he is played by John Hamm, and he is remembering his time in 1917 when he was fresh out of school. He'd been sent to a hospital in the middle of nowhere to be the only doctor at this place, and that version of himself is played by Daniel Radcliffe. And his older self, as he's remembering it, is putting himself in those things, and he's having conversations with himself that aren't actually happening because no one else is noticing.
Okay, too much. And say the title again real quickly.
It is A Young Doctor's Notebook and Other Stories.
See, I just saved you from scrubbing backwards, folks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy.
All right.
So,
we will have to look into that.
yes, you will.
The rest of the population. All right. I think we're going to let this one go.
I think so. Well, I've been Paul.
And I've been Brian.
See ya.
Bye. Precursory noises. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. Business. Okay.
I might leave this in.
I think you should.
I think I'll put it to the end.
Except for this part where we're talking about
Oh, yes.
or maybe especially this part where we're talking